The warning lights flashed red across the Luna Station command center. Captain Daeho Kim stared at the massive screen showing Earth's outer defense grid. Something big was coming toward their solar system, and it was moving fast. "Sir, we have incoming ships," reported Lieutenant Hyejin Park from her position at the communications desk. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel. "They're sending a message on all frequencies." Daeho walked over to her station. His boots made soft clicking sounds on the metal floor. The station was quiet except for the hum of computers and the steady beeping of radar systems. Everyone was waiting. "What kind of message?" he asked. Yejin looked up at him with worried eyes. "It's not in any human language, but our computers are working on it. The translation software is picking up something about friendship and peace." The main screen changed to show the incoming fleet. Daeho counted the ships as they appeared on the display. There were many of them. Too many. Each ship was huge, much bigger than anything humans had ever built. They looked like silver arrows with smooth, curved sides that reflected starlight. "How many ships are we looking at?" Daeho asked. "Over 200, sir," answered Taemin Lee from the sensor station. "And they're all military vessels. Heavy weapons, energy shields, the works. These aren't exploration ships." Daeho nodded slowly. He had been expecting this day for a long time. Earth's leaders had been preparing for first contact with alien races, but they had hoped it would be more friendly. This looked like an invasion force. The translation computer beeped. Hyejin read the message that appeared on her screen. Her face went pale. "Sir, they're calling themselves the Galactic Federation. They want us to surrender." "Surrender?" Daeho raised his eyebrows. "What exactly do they want us to surrender to?" Hyejin continued reading. "They're offering us protectorate status. We would become part of their empire, but they promise to treat us fairly. They say this is better than being conquered by force." The communication system crackled to life. A deep, strange voice filled the command center. It spoke in broken English with an accent that sounded like nothing on Earth. "Humans of planet Earth, we are Ambassador Veltar of the Centaurian Republic, speaking for the Galactic Federation. We come in peace, but we also come with power. You have seen our fleet. Submit now, and your people will be treated with kindness. Refuse, and we will be forced to use other methods." The alien ships moved closer to Earth's solar system. Their formation was perfect, like they had done this many times before. Daeho could see weapon ports opening on the sides of the vessels. Energy began to glow inside the openings. "Sir, should I contact Admiral Choi?" asked Taemin. "Yes, get her on the secure line right now." Daeho walked back to the center of the command room. His mind was racing. Earth's real military was hidden, disguised to look weak and primitive. The aliens had no idea what they were really dealing with. The secure communication channel opened. Admiral Jiwon Choi's face appeared on a smaller screen. She looked calm, but Daeho could see the tension in her eyes. "Admiral, we have a situation," Daeho reported. "The aliens are here, and they're not here to make friends." "I know, Captain. We've been tracking them since they entered our detection range 3 days ago." Admiral Choi paused. "It's time to put our plan into action. How long until they reach the inner system?" 6 hours at their current speed," Taemin called out. "Good. That gives us time." Admiral Choi looked directly at Daeho. "Captain, I need you to play your part perfectly. Make Luna Station look as primitive as possible. Let them think we're just barely managing to keep our technology working." "Understood, Admiral. What about our real defenses?" "They're already in position. The aliens don't know it, but they're flying into a trap that we've spent 50 years preparing." Admiral Choi smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. "Let them come. Let them think they're strong. When the time is right, we'll show them what human engineering really looks like." The connection ended. Daeho turned to his crew. These were good people who had trained for this moment. They knew their roles and they knew what was at stake. "Listen up, everyone," Daeho announced. "We're about to have visitors. Alien visitors who think they can scare us into giving up our planet. They're wrong, but we need to let them believe they're right." He walked over to a control panel and pressed several buttons. Around the station, systems began to power down. The lights dimmed to emergency levels. Some of the computer screens flickered and went dark. Hyejin, I want you to make our communications look like they're barely working. Add some static. Make it seem like our equipment is old and breaking down. Yes, sir. She began adjusting her controls. Soon, the communication system started to crackle and pop with fake interference. Tae-min, same thing with the sensors. Make them think our detection equipment is primitive. Already on it, Captain. I'm masking our real sensor arrays and only showing them our basic radar systems. Daeho nodded. The plan was working. The aliens would see exactly what they expected to see. A barely spacefaring civilization with crude technology and weak defenses. The alien fleet continued its approach. They broadcast more messages, showing images of their weapons and ships. The pictures were meant to frighten Earth's leaders into surrendering without a fight. Sir, they're requesting permission to send a diplomatic ship to Terra Station. Hyejin reported Terra Station was Earth's fake primary orbital facility. It had been built to look impressive to the aliens while hiding humanity's real space infrastructure. The station was designed to appear advanced to alien eyes while actually being much less sophisticated than Earth's hidden facilities. Tell them they have permission, Daeho ordered, and make sure our response sounds like we're grateful for the honor of meeting them. As Hyejin sent the message, Daeho thought about what was really happening. The aliens believed they were dealing with a young, primitive species. They had no idea that humans had been watching the galaxy for decades, studying alien technology, and preparing for this exact situation. The alien diplomatic ship separated from the main fleet. It was still huge compared to human vessels, but it moved gracefully through space toward Terra Station. As it traveled, more alien messages arrived. They're sending technical specifications, Taemin announced. Information about their weapons, their shields, they're faster than light drives. They want us to understand how powerful they are. Perfect, Daeho muttered. The more they tell us about their technology, the easier it will be to defeat it. The alien ship docked with Terra Station. Through the security cameras, Daeho could see the alien ambassador and his team. They were tall, thin beings with gray skin and large eyes. They wore elaborate uniforms covered with medals and decorations. Ambassador Veltar looked around Terra Station with obvious disappointment. The station had been designed to look impressive but outdated, like humans were, trying their best with limited technology. The aliens clearly expected something more primitive. Sir, the ambassador is requesting a tour of our facilities, Hyejin reported. Of course he is. He wants to see how weak we really are. Daeho smiled. Tell him we'd be honored to show him around, and make sure Captain Yang knows to put on a good show. Captain Subin Yang commanded Terra Station. She was an excellent actress who could make advanced technology look like it was held together with spare parts and hope. The aliens were about to get exactly the impression Earth wanted them to have. As the tour began, Daeho watched through the security feeds. The aliens examined human technology with the attitude of adults looking at children's toys. They were polite but clearly unimpressed. Everything was going according to plan. The aliens thought they had found an easy target. They had no idea they were walking into the most sophisticated trap in human history. The real human fleet waited in hidden bases throughout the solar system, invisible to alien sensors. When the time came, Earth would show these invaders what humanity was truly capable of. Ambassador Veltar stepped off his ship and onto Terra Station with confidence. His tall, gray body moved smoothly as he looked around the docking bay. The human facility looked exactly like he expected from a primitive species. Metal walls showed signs of wear and repair. The lighting was dim and uneven. Everything had the appearance of being hastily built and barely maintained. Captain Subin Yang waited to greet the alien delegation. She wore a uniform that looked official but not too impressive. Her hair was slightly messy, and she had deliberately left a small stain on her sleeve. The idea was to look like someone doing their best with limited resources. Welcome to Terra Station, Ambassador Veltar, Subin said in careful English. She had practiced making her voice sound nervous and uncertain. We are honored by your presence. Veltar's large eyes studied the human captain. She seemed young and inexperienced, exactly what he expected from a species that had only recently achieved space travel. Behind her stood several other humans, all looking similarly unprepared for such an important meeting. Thank you, Captain Yang. We appreciate your hospitality. Veltar's voice was deep and carried the tone of someone used to being in charge. We look forward to learning more about your civilization. The way he said the word civilization made it clear that he didn't think much of human achievements. Subin pretended not to notice the insult. Of course, Ambassador. We have prepared a tour of our station. I hope you will find it interesting. As they walked through the corridors, Veltar and his team observed everything with critical eyes. The human technology looked crude and unreliable. Exposed wires ran along the walls. Computer screens flickered occasionally. The artificial gravity seemed to fluctuate slightly, making everyone feel a little unsteady. Engineering Chief Hyun Woo Nam had spent weeks preparing these problems. Every flicker, every fluctuation, every spark was carefully planned to give the aliens exactly the right impression. The humans were trying hard, but their technology was clearly inferior. Tell me, Captain Yang, Veltar said as they entered. The main control room. How long has your species been traveling between stars? About 80 years, sir, Subin replied. We built our first faster-than-light ship in the 2040s, but it was very basic. We've been improving our designs ever since. This was technically true, but it didn't tell the whole story. Humans had indeed built their first public FTL ship in the 2040s, but they had been secretly developing much more advanced technology for decades before that. The alien science officer, a shorter being with blue-tinted skin named Kexhan, examined the station's computer systems. The displays showed simple readouts with basic graphics. The processing power appeared to be barely adequate for running the station's essential systems. Your computational technology is quite basic, Kexhan observed. How do you manage complex calculations for space navigation? Dr. Minji Seo, Earth's head of xenobiology, stepped forward. She had been assigned to play the role of the station's chief scientist. We use multiple computers working together, she explained. It's not very efficient, but it works well enough for our needs. She gestured toward a bank of computers that hummed loudly and generated obvious heat. The aliens nodded knowingly. This was exactly the kind of primitive solution they expected from a developing species. What the aliens couldn't see were the quantum computers hidden behind the fake panels. These systems were thousands of times more powerful than anything in the Galactic Federation, but they were completely invisible to alien sensors. As the tour continued, small accidents began to happen. A control panel sparked and went dark. The lights dimmed for a few seconds. A door stuck halfway open, requiring 2 crew members to force it the rest of the way. Hyun Woo Nam apologized each time something went wrong. I'm sorry, Ambassador. Our systems are getting old and replacement parts are hard to manufacture. We do our best to keep everything running. Veltar and his team exchanged glances. The humans were clearly struggling with technology that was beyond their full understanding. It was almost sad to watch. Captain Yang, Veltar said after they had seen most of the station, we should discuss the future relationship between Earth and the Galactic Federation. They gathered in the station's conference room. The table was made of simple metal, and the chairs looked uncomfortable. The walls were decorated with basic star charts and pictures of Earth's solar system. The Federation has been watching your species for some time, Veltar began. We have seen your attempts to expand beyond your home planet. We must say, we are impressed by your determination, if not by your technology, Subin nodded politely. We know we have much to learn from more advanced civilizations like yours. Indeed, that is why the Federation is prepared to offer Earth protectorate status. You would become part of our great alliance of worlds. In return, we would provide you with superior technology and protection from hostile forces. Veltar activated a holographic projector that showed the alien fleet in orbit around Earth. The ships were impressive, with sleek hulls and glowing weapon ports. The display was designed to demonstrate the Federation's overwhelming military superiority. Of course, Veltar continued, accepting protectorate status would require certain changes. Earth's resources would be managed more efficiently. Your population would be relocated to designated areas, while Federation specialists extract valuable materials from your planet. The humans in the room looked at each other with worried expressions. This was exactly the reaction Veltar expected. They were beginning to understand that they had no choice in the matter. Dr. Minji spoke up. What would happen to our scientific research? We have several projects in progress. Kexhan answered this question. Your research would be evaluated by Federation scientists. Anything useful would be incorporated into our databases. The rest would be discontinued to prevent wasted effort. Subin pretended to look upset. Ambassador, this sounds less like protection and more like conquest. Veltar's expression didn't change. Captain, your species is not ready for full independence. You lack the technology, the knowledge, and the experience to survive in a galaxy full of dangerous civilizations. The Federation offers you safety and guidance. And if we refuse this generous offer, Subin asked, then we would be forced to implement pacification procedures. Your military forces would be neutralized, and direct Federation control would be established. This would be unfortunate, as it would result in casualties and property damage. The threat was clear. Submit peacefully or be conquered by force. The aliens believed they were being generous by offering the first option. What they didn't know was that Captain Wu Jinhan was monitoring every word of the conversation from Earth Intelligence Headquarters. Hidden sensors throughout Terra Station were recording everything the aliens said and did. Every detail of their technology, their tactics, and their plans was being analyzed by the most advanced artificial intelligence systems ever created. The AI systems had already identified 17 critical weaknesses in the alien fleet's defenses. Their shield technology had a fatal flaw that could be exploited. Their weapon systems operated on principles that human scientists had surpassed decades ago. Even their faster-than-light drives were based on outdated physics that humans had moved beyond. We will need time to consider your offer, Subin said finally. This is a decision that affects our entire species. Of course. We understand this is a momentous choice. Veltar stood up from his uncomfortable chair. We will give you 48 hours to reach a decision. After that time, we will assume that Earth has chosen the path of resistance. The alien delegation prepared to leave Terra Station. As they walked back to their ship, they discussed what they had seen. The humans are even more primitive than our initial scans suggested, Kexhan observed. Their technology is barely functional. Conquering them would be trivial. Yes, but it would be wasteful, Veltar replied. Better to let them surrender peacefully. They might prove useful as workers once they accept Federation authority. Their ship detached from Terra Station and returned to the main fleet. The aliens felt confident that Earth would make the right choice. No rational species would choose to fight against such overwhelming odds. Back on Terra Station, Subin allowed herself a small smile. The performance had gone perfectly. The aliens were convinced that humanity was weak, primitive, and helpless. Captain, Yunwu said quietly, should I restore the station's real systems? Not yet, Subin replied. Keep everything looking broken until this is over. We need to maintain the illusion as long as possible. She looked out through the station's observation windows at the alien fleet. Those ships looked impressive, but she knew they were about to face something they couldn't possibly understand. The real human fleet was already moving into position, hidden by technology the aliens couldn't detect. Earth had 48 hours to surrender. Instead, they would use that time to prepare the most shocking military demonstration in galactic history. Admiral In-Ho Kwan stood in the main conference room of the Korean Phoenix, facing the captured Federation officers who would soon carry Earth's message to the galaxy. The room was designed to impress, with walls that seemed to be made of crystallized starlight and furniture that floated without any visible support. Gentlemen, Admiral Kwan began, his voice calm but commanding. You are about to witness the signing of a new chapter in galactic history. Admiral Veltar, still wearing his Federation uniform but now clearly a prisoner, looked around the impossible human technology with defeated eyes. What are your terms, Admiral Kwan? Our terms are simple and non-negotiable, Admiral Kwan replied. He activated a holographic display that showed Earth's demands written in multiple galactic languages. First, the Galactic Federation will immediately withdraw all military forces from human space and will never again threaten Earth or its colonies. Colonies? Veltar interrupted. Your species has only been spacefaring for 80 years. How can you have colonies? Admiral Kwan smiled. Admiral, I think you misunderstood our earlier explanation. Earth has been secretly colonizing suitable worlds for over 100 years. We now have established settlements in 47 star systems. The holographic display changed to show a map of human territory. The aliens stared in shock as they realized that humanity already controlled a significant portion of the galaxy, all hidden from Federation sensors. Second, Admiral Kwan continued, the Federation will immediately cease all protectorate operations against developing civilizations. No species will be forced to join your alliance or submit to your authority. Ambassador Veltar tried to object. The protectorate system exists to guide primitive species towards civilization. Without our guidance, they might develop dangerous technologies or become threats to galactic peace. Like we did? Admiral Kwan asked pointedly. Your guidance system is designed to prevent other species from surpassing Federation technology. You keep them dependent and weak to maintain your dominance. Captain Yonseo Lim entered the conference room carrying a briefcase that contained the formal treaty documents. Her arrival was perfectly timed, demonstrating the precision with which Earth planned everything. Admiral Veltar, these documents establish the new relationship between Earth and the Galactic Federation, Captain Lim announced. You will sign them and carry them back to your government. Veltar read through the treaty with growing alarm. The terms weren't just demanding independence for Earth. They were requiring the Federation to change fundamental policies that had governed galactic civilization for centuries. This treaty would end Federation expansion, Veltar protested. We have guided galactic development for over 2,000 years. Without our oversight, chaos could result. Chaos like a peaceful species developing advanced technology without your permission? Admiral Kwan asked. Or chaos like civilizations choosing their own destiny instead of submitting to Federation rule? The human admiral walked to the large viewing window that looked out into space. The Federation fleet remained trapped by Earth's gravity manipulation technology, their ships dark and powerless. Admiral, the Federation's time as the dominant galactic power is ending. This can happen peacefully through negotiation, or it can happen through military action. We prefer peace, but we are prepared for either option. At that moment, a communication alert sounded. The face of Counselor Ui Jin Ryu appeared on the conference room's main display. She was calling from the Galactic Federation's capital world, where she had just arrived aboard a human diplomatic vessel. Admiral Kwan, I have successfully delivered our message to the Federation Council, Counselor Ryu reported. They are quite surprised by our capabilities. Admiral Veltar stared at the screen in shock. How did you reach the capital? It's over 3,000 light-years from Earth. Admiral, our fastest ships can cross the galaxy in a matter of hours. Counselor, Ryu replied. While your fleet was trapped in our solar system, we sent diplomatic missions to every major Federation world simultaneously. The implications were staggering. Not only had Earth defeated the Federation fleet easily, but they had also demonstrated the ability to project power across vast galactic distances instantly. The Federation Council is meeting in emergency session, Counselor Ryu continued. They have seen our ships, our technology, and our proposals for galactic reform. I believe they will be very interested in negotiating. General Byung-Jun Song appeared on another communication channel, calling from a human base that definitely shouldn't exist. Admiral, Operation Revelation is complete. All hidden colonies have revealed themselves simultaneously. We now have open, diplomatic contact with over 400 civilizations across the galaxy. Admiral Veltar felt the last of his hope disappear. Earth hadn't just been hiding their technology. They had built a secret galactic empire while the Federation wasn't looking. How many of our member worlds have you contacted? He asked weakly. All of them, General Song replied matter-of-factly. We wanted to give every civilization the opportunity to hear Earth's proposals directly, rather than filtered through Federation propaganda. The human general activated another holographic display that showed real-time updates from across the galaxy. Dozens of Federation member worlds were already expressing interest in Earth's alternative to Federation rule. Admiral Quan turned back to the captured Federation officers. "Gentlemen, the galaxy is changing whether the Federation accepts it or not. We would prefer to work with your government, but we are fully prepared to work around it if necessary." Captain Hyunju Kim entered the conference room to make the final announcement. She wore the dress uniform of Earth's new Galactic Diplomatic Corps, an organization that had apparently been preparing for this moment for decades. "Admiral Veltar, I have been appointed as Earth's first official ambassador to the Galactic Federation Council. I will be traveling to your capital world aboard our newest diplomatic vessel to begin formal negotiations." She gestured toward the viewing window, where an impossible ship was materializing in space. The vessel was over 10 kilometers long, built with technology that made even the human warships look primitive by comparison. "The Soul's Promise represents our most advanced diplomatic technology," Captain Kim explained. "She is equipped with facilities for hosting negotiations between hundreds of different species, translation systems for over 10,000 languages, and defensive systems that make our warships look like toys." The alien officers stared at the massive ship in stunned silence. If this was what Earth considered appropriate for diplomatic missions, their military capabilities were beyond imagination. "Admiral Quan," Veltar said finally, "what happens to us now?" "You will be returned to Federation space aboard one of your own vessels," Admiral Quan replied. "Your ship's faster-than-light capability will be restored once you leave our solar system. You will carry our treaty proposals and a complete record of this encounter to your government." He paused, looking directly at each of the Federation officers. "You will also carry a warning. Earth is no longer hiding. We have revealed ourselves to the galaxy, and we will not tolerate threats against any peaceful civilization. The age of Federation dominance through military intimidation is over." The humans began preparing the Federation prisoners for return to their ships. The aliens moved slowly, still trying to process what had happened to them. As Admiral Veltar was escorted back to his vessel, he asked one final question. "Admiral Quan, why did you wait so long to reveal yourselves? With your technology, you could have dominated the galaxy centuries ago." Admiral Quan considered the question carefully before answering. "Admiral, we waited because we wanted to be sure we were ready for the responsibility. Dominating others through superior technology is easy. Building a galactic civilization based on cooperation and mutual respect is much more difficult. We spent 2 centuries studying your Federation and other galactic powers. We learned from your mistakes and your successes. When we finally decided to reveal ourselves, we wanted to offer something better than what existed before. The Federation fleet was released from Earth's gravitational trap and allowed to depart the solar system. As the alien ships activated their faster-than-light drives and disappeared into space, they carried with them the news that would reshape galactic civilization. 6 months later, the Galactic Federation Council signed the Treaty of Terra, formally recognizing Earth as an independent power and agreeing to end the Protectorate system. Over half of the Federation's member worlds chose to join Earth's new alliance of free worlds instead. The galaxy had a new dominant power, but this time, it was a power that ruled through example rather than force. Earth's advanced technology was shared freely with peaceful civilizations, while their military power protected the weak from the strong. The age of human expansion had begun, and the universe would never be the same. But unlike previous galactic empires, humanity's rule was based on the radical idea that every species deserved the right to choose its own destiny. It was, as many historians would later write, the beginning of the galaxy's golden age. The Federation fleet tried to retreat. Admiral Veltar gave the order for all ships to activate their faster-than-light drives and escape from the solar system immediately. But when the alien crews pressed the activation buttons, nothing happened. Their engines remained cold and silent. "Sir, FTL systems are completely non-functional," reported the chief engineer on Veltar's flagship. "It's as if the drives don't exist anymore." Chief Engineer Young Mi Bei's voice came over the communication channel from her human vessel. Her tone was calm and educational, like a teacher explaining a simple concept to confused students. Federation. Fleet, your faster-than-light capability has been temporarily disabled. We have created a localized space-time distortion field around this entire solar system. No ship can achieve FTL travel without our permission. She paused, allowing the alien crews to check their instruments and confirm what she was telling them. Every FTL system in the Federation fleet showed the same reading: total failure. The field extends approximately 1 light-year in all directions. Young Mai continued. You are free to travel anywhere within that boundary using normal propulsion, but you cannot leave until we decide to let you go. The implications hit the aliens immediately. They were trapped in a prison made of twisted space-time, unable to escape or call for help. Earth had turned their entire solar system into a cage for unwanted visitors. Admiral Veltar realized his situation was hopeless, but military training demanded that he try one last option. All ships, prepare for emergency combat maneuvers. We'll break through their formation and reach the edge of the distortion field. The Federation vessels began moving at maximum sublight speed toward the outer edge of the solar system. They flew in tight formation, hoping their combined firepower could blast through any human ships that tried to stop them. But the human fleet didn't try to stop them. Instead, they simply watched as the alien ships raced toward what they thought was freedom. When the Federation fleet reached the boundary of Young Mi's gravitational field, their ships stopped as if they had hit an invisible wall. The leading vessels crumpled slightly as they struck the distorted space-time barrier, their hulls unable to withstand forces that existed outside normal physics. As I mentioned, Young Mi said patiently, the field extends 1 light-year in all directions. Your ships lack the technology to penetrate or disrupt it. The alien fleet was completely trapped. Worse, they were now scattered across a wide area of space, making them easy targets for individual human ships. Colonel Ho Sung-John received permission to begin boarding operations. His Marines wore armor that looked like something from an advanced civilization's distant future. The suits incorporated personal shield generators, reality anchoring fields, and weapons that could function in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Boarding Team Alpha, you are authorized to secure the Federation flagship, Colonel Jian announced over the Marine communication channel. Remember, we want prisoners who can carry our message back to the galaxy. The human boarding craft approached Veltar's ship without any attempt at stealth or subtlety. They simply flew directly toward the alien vessel, ignoring the defensive weapons that fired at them continuously. The Federation's most powerful guns had no effect on the human boarding craft. The small ships were protected by the same impossible technology that made the larger human warships invulnerable. When the boarding craft attached to the alien flagship's hull, the Federation crew prepared to repel invaders. They had extensive training in defending against boarding actions, and their ship's internal defenses were considered among the best in the galaxy. None of it mattered. Colonel John's Marines cut through the hull of the Federation ship as if it were made of paper. Their cutting tools operated on principles that the aliens had never encountered, slicing through advanced armor and energy barriers without any resistance. The alien security forces opened fire as soon as the humans entered their ship. Energy, beams and projectile weapons filled the corridors with deadly crossfire that should have stopped any boarding party. But the human Marines walked through the attacks without taking damage. Their personal armor made them immune to anything the Federation could throw at them, while their weapons cut through alien defenses like they weren't there. The battle was over in minutes. Every alien crew member was stunned and captured without a single human casualty. The Marines had neutralized the entire ship's complement using non-lethal weapons that the Federation had no defense against. Federation flagship secured, Colonel John reported to Admiral Park. All crew members are alive and uninjured. We have complete control of their vessel. Similar scenes played out across the scattered Federation fleet. Human boarding parties captured ship after ship without encountering any meaningful resistance. The technological gap was simply too large for the aliens to overcome. The alien commander Zexathal, second in command of the Federation fleet, found himself prisoner aboard his own ship. He stared at the human marine standing guard over him, trying to understand what had just happened. How? He asked finally. How is it possible that your species possesses technology so far beyond ours? The Marine, a young woman named Corporal So Jin Park, removed her helmet and looked at the alien commander with something that might have been sympathy. Sir, our scientists achieved breakthrough discoveries in dimensional physics, quantum mechanics, and temporal manipulation over 60 years ago. What you've seen today represents old technology by our standards. Zexthal shook his head in disbelief. But your space station, your equipment, everything we observed suggested primitive technology barely capable of interstellar travel. Yes, sir. We built Terra Station specifically to give that impression. Every piece of equipment you examined was designed to look crude and unreliable. We wanted potential invaders to think we were easy targets. Dr. Sujin Bayek materialized on the bridge of Zexathal's ship using human teleportation technology. She wore the uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps, and she carried herself with the confidence of someone representing a superior civilization. Commander Zexthal, I am Dr. Beck from Earth's Department of Galactic Affairs. I'm here to explain what has happened and what happens next. The alien commander stared at her. Department of Galactic Affairs? Your species has been spacefaring for less than a century. How can you have a Department of Galactic Affairs? Dr. Beck smiled. Commander, Earth has been secretly observing galactic civilization for over 200 years. We developed faster-than-light sensors long before we built our first FTL ship. We have been watching, learning, and preparing for exactly this type of encounter. She activated a holographic projector that showed a map of the galaxy. Hundreds of star systems were marked with small Earth symbols. We have established hidden observation posts throughout the galaxy, Dr. Beck explained, using stealth technology that your sensors cannot detect. We have been studying every major civilization, including the Galactic Federation. Zexthal looked at the map with growing horror. Human spy stations were everywhere, monitoring and analyzing alien civilizations. Without their knowledge, we know about your military capabilities, your political structure, your economic systems, and your expansion plans, Dr. Beck continued. We have been preparing for potential conflict with the Federation for over 50 years. Captain Jae-hoon appeared on the bridge next to Dr. Beck, demonstrating humanity's casual mastery of teleportation technology. He carried a datapad containing information that would change galactic history. The Federation has a choice, Captain O announced. You can acknowledge Earth as an independent, sovereign civilization and establish diplomatic relations as equals, or you can attempt to continue your conquest, knowing that we possess military technology centuries ahead of your own. He handed the datapad to Zexthal. The alien commander looked at the information displayed on the screen and felt his hope drain away. The data showed detailed scans of every Federation military installation, complete tactical analysis of their fleet compositions, and strategic assessments of their defensive capabilities. Earth knew everything about the Federation's military, down to the personal files of individual officers. How long have you been watching us? Zexthal asked quietly. Since your civilization first achieved faster-than-light travel 4 centuries ago, Captain O replied. We have complete records of your expansion, your conquests, and your military tactics. This encounter was not a surprise to us. It was an inevitable confrontation that we have been planning for generations. The truth was finally clear. The Federation had not discovered a primitive species to conquer. They had stumbled into a trap, set by beings whose technology was so advanced that they could afford to appear weak while actually being the most dangerous civilization in the galaxy. Admiral Veltar, now a prisoner aboard his own flagship, spoke to Admiral Park through the communication system. Admiral, what do you intend to do with us? Admiral Veltar, we intend to send you home with a message for the Galactic Federation Council. Earth is not a primitive world to be conquered. We are a civilization that chose to remain hidden until we were ready to reveal ourselves. And now, you are ready? Now we are ready. The galaxy is about to learn that humanity exists, and that we will not tolerate threats against our homeworld, or... Admiral Sang-ho Park stood on the bridge of the Korean Phoenix. looking at the Federation fleet through displays that showed information no alien sensor could detect. His ship was more than just a warship. It was a demonstration of what human engineering could achieve when pushed to its limits. "Federation vessels, you seem confused," Admiral Park said calmly into the communication system. "Allow me to explain your situation." The main screen showed Admiral Veltar on his bridge, surrounded by crew members who looked terrified and confused. Their instruments were giving impossible readings, and their tactical computers couldn't process what they were seeing. "Admiral Park," Veltar said, trying to maintain his authority, "whatever deception you are using will not change the outcome of this encounter. The Federation has faced many primitive species who attempted to use tricks and illusions." Park smiled. "Deception? There is no deception here, Admiral. What you see is exactly what exists. Perhaps a demonstration would help you understand." He turned to Captain Ji-Hai Moon at the Stealth Operations Station. "Captain, please reveal the ships that have been shadowing the Federation fleet since they entered our system." "Yes, sir." "Decloak Protocol 7. Execute now." Throughout the Federation formation, human warships began to appear. They had been there all along, invisible and undetected, traveling alongside each alien vessel. Some had been so close that their hulls were almost touching the Federation ships. The alien crews panicked as they realized they had been surrounded from the moment they arrived. Human vessels appeared next to every Federation ship, above and below them, in perfect positions to attack from multiple directions simultaneously. "How is this possible?" Veltar demanded. "Our sensors show no faster than light signatures. These ships didn't arrive. They were already here." "Correct, Admiral," Park replied. "We have been monitoring your fleet since it left Centaurian space 3 weeks ago. Our stealth technology is somewhat more advanced than yours." Dr. Kyung-Soo Yoon, Earth's chief weapons researcher, was monitoring the encounter from his laboratory, deep beneath the Sahara Desert. He had spent 30 years developing the weapon systems that were about to be demonstrated, based on scientific principles that wouldn't be discovered by the Federation for centuries. "Admiral Park, Weapons Research Division reports ready for demonstration," Dr. Yoon announced over the secure channel. "Understood, Doctor. Please proceed with Test Sequence Alpha." On the human flagship's main display, a targeting reticle appeared around a large asteroid at the edge of the solar system. The rock was approximately the size of Manhattan, floating peacefully in the darkness between Mars and Jupiter. "Federation fleet, please observe the asteroid designated as Target Alpha," Admiral Park announced. "We will now demonstrate the basic capabilities of human weapons technology." The Phoenix's main gun powered up. Energy flowed through conduits that bent space-time itself, focusing power from multiple dimensions into a single, devastating beam. The weapon operated on principles that made Federation physics look like children's mathematics. The beam fired. But this wasn't like any weapon the aliens had ever seen. Instead of traveling in a straight line, the energy beam curved through folded space, approaching the target from 3 different directions simultaneously. The beam passed through several layers of twisted spacetime, striking the asteroid from angles that should have been impossible. The asteroid simply ceased to exist. It didn't explode or break apart. It was completely removed from reality, leaving behind only empty space and confused alien sensors that couldn't detect what had happened. "Impossible," whispered Kexhan on the Federation flagship. That weapon struck through folded space. The energy beam traveled through dimensions that don't exist. Admiral Park's voice remained calm and professional. "Our weapon systems are designed to bypass conventional defenses by operating in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Your shields and armor are ineffective against attacks that arrive from outside normal spacetime." Commander Ah Young-shin demonstrated the next human capability. Her ship, the Soul's Vengeance, began to shimmer and fade from normal space. The vessel became translucent, like a ghost ship floating through reality. "Dimensional phasing technology," she announced over the fleet communication channel. "We can shift partially outside normal spacetime, making us immune to conventional attacks while maintaining full offensive capability." The Federation weapons officer tried to target the phased human ship, but his systems couldn't lock onto something that existed in multiple dimensions at once. Energy blasts passed harmlessly through the ghostly vessel without causing any damage. "Your weapons cannot harm us when we are phased," Commander Shin explained. "But our weapons can still affect you. We are no longer playing by the same rules of physics that limit your technology." Captain Junho Cha took the demonstration further. His ship opened what appeared to be holes in space itself, portals that connected different parts of the solar system through folded dimensions. "Portal technology allows us to attack from any direction at any range instantaneously," Captain Cha explained. His ship fired through one portal, and the energy beam emerged from another portal directly behind a Federation cruiser. The alien ship's shields designed to protect against frontal attacks were useless against weapons that could appear anywhere. The aliens watched in horror as human ships appeared and disappeared throughout their formation, attacking from impossible angles, through weapons that ignored every law of physics they understood. Admiral Veltar tried to rally his forces. "All ships, return fire. Target the largest human vessels." The Federation fleet opened fire with everything they had. Energy beams, plasma cannons, and kinetic projectiles filled space with destructive force. It was an impressive display of firepower that could have destroyed any conventional fleet. But the human ships simply absorbed the attacks without taking damage. Their shields operated on principles that the Federation couldn't comprehend, converting the alien weapon energy into power for their own systems. "Thank you for the energy donation," Admiral Park said politely. "Our shield systems are designed to convert incoming attacks into useful power. Please fire as much as you like." The Federation weapons had no effect at all. Worse, every shot they fired made the human ships stronger. Lieutenant Young Mi Bei demonstrated humanity's gravity manipulation technology. Her engineering team activated systems that created localized distortions in space-time around the Federation fleet. "You may have noticed that your faster-than-light drives are no longer functional," she announced. "We have created a localized gravitational field that prevents FTL travel in this area. You cannot escape until we allow it." The alien ships tried to activate their FTL systems and found them completely non-functional. They were trapped in normal space, unable to flee or call for reinforcements. "This is a nightmare," Veltar muttered. "How can a primitive species possess technology that violates fundamental physics?" Admiral Park heard the comment and decided to answer honestly. "Admiral, Earth achieved what you call technological singularity over 50 years ago. We chose to appear primitive to avoid attracting attention from potentially hostile galactic civilizations. You have provided us with an excellent test of our defensive preparations." The human fleet continued their demonstration. Ships moved through space at velocities that should have been impossible, accelerated by technology that manipulated time itself, rather than relying on conventional propulsion. Captain Jae-hoon Oh showed the aliens humanity's time manipulation capabilities. His ship seemed to move in slow motion for a few seconds, then suddenly accelerated to incredible speeds. The effect was achieved by creating time bubbles that allowed the ship to operate in accelerated time streams. "We can alter the flow of time around our vessels," Captain Oh explained. "This allows us to react faster than your weapons can target us, and to strike before you can defend." The Federation fleet found themselves facing enemies that could appear anywhere, strike from any angle, ignore any defense, and operate outside the normal flow of time. It wasn't just a technological disadvantage. It was like Stone Age warriors facing opponents with nuclear weapons. "Admiral Park," Veltar said finally, his voice filled with defeat. "What do you want from us?" "What I want, Admiral, is very simple. I want you to understand that Earth is not a primitive world that can be conquered by a show of force. We are not impressed by your warships, because we have seen much better designs in our museums." The human admiral paused to let that sink in. "Your fleet represents technology that we surpassed decades ago. Your weapons are based on principles we consider obsolete. Your shields use theories we abandoned as inefficient. You came here expecting to find helpless prey. Instead, you have encountered apex predators who were kind enough to let you live, long enough to learn from your mistakes." The Federation fleet floated helplessly in space, surrounded by human warships that operated on impossible principles. Every alien crew member now understood that they had made a terrible error in judgment. Earth was not a primitive world to be conquered. Earth was the home of beings whose technology was so advanced that they could afford to appear weak while actually being the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The Federation fleet moved deeper into Earth's solar system like a pack of hunters closing in on trapped prey. Admiral Veltar stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the blue and green planet grow larger on the main display. In 24 hours, this world would belong to the Federation one way or another. Admiral, his tactical officer, reported, "We have positioned the fleet in optimal attack formation. All weapons are charged and ready." Veltar nodded with satisfaction. The human response had been predictable. Earth's leaders were clearly panicking, sending desperate messages asking for more time to consider the Federation's generous offer. Their primitive communication systems barely functioned, filled with static and interference. "Any sign of human military activity?" Veltar asked. "None, sir. We detect a few small patrol ships near their outer planets, but nothing that could threaten even our smallest vessels. Their orbital platforms appear to be commercial stations with minimal defensive capabilities." This was exactly what Veltar expected. The tour of Terra Station had confirmed that human technology was decades behind Federation standards. Their weapons were crude projectile systems. Their shields were basic energy barriers that could be overwhelmed by any serious attack. On Earth, deep inside Cheyenne Mountain, General Yune Ko watched the alien fleet through sensors the invaders couldn't detect. Her command center looked like something from a science fiction movie, filled with holographic displays and advanced computer systems that hummed with quiet efficiency. "All hidden stations report ready status," her aide announced. "The fleet is in position." General Ko smiled grimly. The Federation had no idea what they were flying into. Hidden throughout the solar system, camouflaged beyond the ability of alien sensors to detect, waited the true human space navy. "Activate Phase 1, she ordered. Across the solar system, installations that had appeared to be nothing more than asteroids or space debris began to power up. These weren't the primitive bases the aliens had observed. These were fortresses equipped with weapons that operated on principles of physics the Federation hadn't discovered yet. Captain Dong Hyun Lim felt his ship come alive around him as the Incheon's thunder emerged from its hiding place inside what the aliens thought was a dead moon. The massive vessel stretched over 5 kilometers from bow to stern, but it remained completely invisible to Federation sensors thanks to technology that bent space itself. "All systems online, Captain," reported Lieutenant Seyoung Kang from the tactical station. "Dimensional displacement generators are functioning normally. Reality anchor systems are stable." Dong-hyun looked at his command crew with pride. These people had trained for years to operate technology that most Federation scientists would consider impossible. Their ship didn't just fly through space. It could step partially outside normal reality, making it untouchable by conventional weapons. "How many ships do we have in the first wave?" Dong-hyun asked. 37 vessels, sir, ranging from destroyer class to our new super dreadnought designs. The aliens won't know what hit them. But the plan wasn't to destroy the Federation fleet immediately. Earth's leaders wanted to send a message that would be remembered throughout the galaxy. They wanted every spacefaring civilization to understand that humanity was not to be threatened. Aboard the Federation flagship, Science Officer Kexhan frowned at his instrument readings. For the past hour, he had been detecting strange energy, signatures that didn't match any known technology. The patterns were subtle, barely detectable, but they seemed to be growing stronger. "Admiral, I'm picking up unusual readings throughout the system," he reported. "The energy signatures don't match anything in our databases." Veltar glanced at the science station. "Human technology?" "I don't think so, sir. These readings suggest power levels far beyond what we observed on their space station. It might be natural phenomena related to their star's magnetic field." Veltar dismissed the concern with a wave of his hand. "Humans barely understand their own technology. They certainly can't produce energy readings that would confuse Federation sensors." This was the Federation's fatal mistake. Their arrogance blinded them to the possibility that a seemingly primitive species could possess superior technology. They had made this same error dozens of times before, always with the same result: easy conquest of another world. But Earth was different. Earth had been preparing for this moment for over a century. Captain Wu Jinhan monitored the situation from his hidden command post. His job was intelligence gathering, and the information flowing in was better than he had hoped. The aliens were broadcasting their tactical plans on frequencies they assumed humans couldn't intercept. They were discussing their weapon capabilities and defensive strategies as if Earth's forces posed no threat at all. "Sir, we have complete scans of their entire fleet," his aide reported. "Every ship, every weapon system, every shield generator. Our computers have identified optimal attack vectors for maximum effect with minimum damage." Wu Jin nodded. The plan was to disable the Federation fleet, not destroy it. Earth wanted prisoners who could carry word back to the galaxy about what had happened here. Fear was a more effective weapon than destruction. The 48-hour deadline was approaching rapidly. Admiral Veltar prepared to broadcast his final ultimatum to the planet below. He expected the humans to surrender, but he was ready for resistance. "Open a channel to all human communication networks," he ordered. The message went out across Earth's radio, television, and internet systems. Veltar's image appeared on screens around the world, his alien features designed to inspire fear and submission. "People of Earth, your time has expired. The Galactic Federation has offered you the opportunity to join our alliance peacefully. If you do not surrender within the next 6 hours, we will be forced to pacify your planet by military action. Choose wisely." The transmission ended. On Earth, people went about their daily lives as if nothing had happened. The government had assured them that the situation was under control, though few understood what that really meant. In space, the Federation fleet began moving into attack positions. Their formation was perfect, designed to overwhelm any planetary defense system. Energy weapons powered up, and shield generators reached full strength. "All ships report combat ready," the tactical officer announced. "Excellent. Begin the countdown. In 6 hours, we will demonstrate Federation power to these stubborn humans." But as the aliens prepared for what they thought would be an easy victory, sensors throughout the solar system detected something impossible. Space itself began to ripple and bend in ways that violated everything the Federation knew about physics. "Admiral," Kexhan called out in alarm. "The energy readings are spiking across the entire system. Whatever is causing this, it's massive." Before Veltar could respond, space around the Federation fleet began to shimmer. The stars seemed to twist and bend, as if reality itself was being reshaped by an unseen force. Then they appeared. The human warships materialized out of nothing, their hulls gleaming with energy fields that made them look like solid light. They were beautiful and terrifying at the same time, their designs unlike anything in the galaxy. Some were sleek and curved like living creatures. Others were angular and geometric, covered in patterns that hurt to look at directly. "Impossible," Veltar whispered. "Where did they come from?" The largest human ship was directly in front of the Federation flagship. It was twice the size of Veltar's vessel, and it seemed to be made of some material that shifted between solid metal and pure energy. Weapon ports along its hull glowed with power that registered beyond the Federation's ability to measure. "Sir, I'm detecting over 100 human vessels," the tactical officer reported, his voice filled with disbelief. "They appear to have materialized from nowhere. Our sensors show no evidence of faster-than-light arrival. They just appeared." Veltar stared at the impossible sight before him. The primitive humans with their crude technology had somehow surrounded his entire fleet with warships that seemed to operate outside the laws of physics. A new voice came over the communication system. It was calm, confident, and speaking perfect Federation standard with no trace of uncertainty. "Federation fleet, this is Admiral Sang-Ho Park of the Earth Defense Force. You are trespassing in human space and have threatened our homeworld. You have exactly 10 minutes to power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Any hostile action will be met with immediate and overwhelming response." The human admiral's image appeared on the main screen. He wore a uniform that looked far more advanced than anything the Federation had seen on Terra Station. Behind him, The bridge of his ship showed technology that belonged in museums of theoretical engineering. Veltar found his voice. "This is impossible. Your species lacks the technology for ships of this magnitude." Admiral Park smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. "Ambassador, you have made the same mistake that many others have made before you. You assumed that what you could see was all that existed. This was unwise. The Federation fleet was trapped, surrounded by human warships that shouldn't exist, operated by a species that was supposed to be primitive and helpless." For the first time in his long military career, Admiral Veltar realized that he might have made a terrible mistake.